Scrappy friends, and a big welcome to my channel once again today. Today's share is for SpiegelMom Scraps. I'm using the Deep Rose Sea sequin mix today to make a couple of cards. Before I go any further, make sure you use code Melinda15 for 15% off your next order. I'll make sure I leave a link in the description box below for you as well. And head on over there, and like I said, you can get 15% off your next order. And if I've got my dates correct, there's a sale happening at the moment as well, and I think that my code's good for that too. So make sure you follow that. If I can link it up the top, I will, but I don't think I can. What I am doing today is creating a couple of cards. I was digging through my stash of sequins. One of the, I'm going to call it a bonus. One of the bonuses of being in Australia is that we often have delays in getting shipping to us, and sometimes, like right at the moment, it's not particularly easy to get product to us when we're in the middle of COVID city. So it means I have to stash dive, which is exciting when you have lots of stash to dive into. And as I was diving through my sequin stash for this project, I saw these Deep Rose Sea sequins, and they are absolutely stunning. They are gorgeous. I love them so much. So I wanted to get some used up, and I thought what better way to use them than to make a couple of cards. I recently bought a hot foil machine, which has not been my favourite thing in the world to play with, but I had a couple of small successes with it, and this was one of it. One of them, I used some, I can't remember what it's called, silver foil, I think it's called Speckled Aura, and I foiled these butterflies. They are by Pink Fresh Studio. I have got all of them, all of these bits for these butterflies because I love them. So there is the stamp, the foil plate, the die, and the stencils. So it's a set of 5 stencils, and I have left all of my stenciling in here for you. I did leave the first bit a bit slower so you could see exactly what I was doing. The very first colour that I used was, let me see, Seaside. I'm using all Pink Fresh Studio inks as well. So the very first blue I used was Seaside, and then Blue Jay. The next blue that I used was Storm. I've come in here with the Berrylicious. If you know your colour wheel, again, I've got a video going over the colour wheel if you need some help with that. I will link that up the top. Red and blue mixed together make purple, so I was a little bit hesitant here when I did that middle wing. I was like, oh, I wonder what colour that's going to go. It actually ends up staying fairly red, which I'm really impressed with. And then the last colour that I did there is called Stargazer. The red is called Berrylicious. So I've just stenciled the colour on there. I love how they turned out. They look so good. I did pick up a tip from Jennifer Maguire. She tends to clean off her stencils before she takes them off the card stock, and I found that worked really well, and I didn't get ink on absolutely everything, which was exciting. I decided to work on this card first. I have got some extra die cuts here that I'm going to use as layers. Something else I picked up from Jennifer Maguire. I really like how sturdy this makes the die cuts, but it also adds dimension, and it makes it feel really quite solid, like it's not just going to fall apart. So this is the basic design of the card here. That black and white polka dot is from a Coco Vanilla Studio 6x6 paper pad. And then the red that I'm using, which works really well with that Pink Fresh red, is Stampin' Up! Cherry Cobbler. So you can see how I'm thinking I'm going to lay this up. I started with stamping the sentiment from this actual stamp set, but I didn't love it. So then I went through my little container with sentiments in it, and I found some black ones. This particular one that I chose says, "Wishing you the happiest birthday ever." And so I'm just going to stick my layers down. You can see here as well, I've added some faux stitching right around the edge of that black and white panel. I really like how that looks. I'm just eyeballing it to get that reasonably straight, and I'm just going to hold that in place while the glue does its thing. Now, I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to use my sequins for this one. I thought about doing like a butterfly trail, which would have been a bit cute. And then I added sequins everywhere. I thought that's what I was going to do. And then you can see I tipped them all off. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start adding little dots of glue and start adding sequins. And I end up adding 3 little clusters of 3 sequins. And I really like how that ended up. So I'm going to go with one to the top left, one to the middle right, and one to the bottom left. And I really like the little bit of bling it adds. They shine beautifully in the light. And yeah, I really like the subtle yet effectiveness of the sequins on this particular card. So there is one fun way to add them. Now my second card, I really wanted to do a full front shaker card. I have got some, I think that's Night of Navy by Stampin' Up cardstock that I have die cut here. And I felt like my background was a little bit too plain here. And I thought I cut this out, but I think I am looking for a background stamp, and you get to watch me fight with getting this out. This is another Pink Fresh Studio product. This one is called Abstract Cube background stamp. I love it. I picked this tip up from Kathy Zielski. I've taken the mouse pad out of my Misty. I'm sticking my red rubber stamp to the base of my Misty, added some of that low tack tape to my card, just lining that up. I'm going to use my powder tool, which I hate this one by the way. I've got a new one which should be here soon, and I will play with it and see how I go with it. Hopefully it's better than this one. And I'm just adding some Versamark, making sure I've got a really good impression there, and I'm missing a couple of spots. I'm going to add some more using my stamp press tool. Give my stamp a bit of a clean off, and then I can emboss. I'm going to go with white embossing here. So you can see I'm just dumping all of my embossing powder on there, trying not to smudge it because it is such an intricate stamp. Now, I don't know how well you can see this in the video, but I do have little bits of extra powder, and you can see I do get some of it off with a paintbrush, but I don't have the patience to do that. I needed to add a bit more powder when I added the anti-static powder, but I didn't, so it's not the end of the world. So I've got a piece of, this is actually scrap page protector that I've cut down, and I'm using the red tape here. This stuff is amazing. I really, this is my tape of preference for doing things like this, doing shaker cards in general. I really feel like it holds super, super well, and I feel like it's not going to fall apart on me. I am going to, I do only leave a little bit of this in, I think. You can see I'm just going over and over and over that crease line just to make sure that it folds where I want it. And then I'm pushing my card into that crease line, and there you go, pushing that up so that it all lines up correctly. I'm going to trim out the corner here. Man, I did this the hard way, that is for sure. On my other corners, I do much better. Okay, so that's one corner done. I'm going to reinforce the crease here. Take off the corner and then take off the backing tape and stick that down. I'm not going to show you the third side, but again I'm just doing the exact same thing on the second and third side, and I'm just bending that back into shape. I add in a few sequins, I give it a go, and I'm like, nope, I need more. With the very few that I left in that pack, I should have just dumped a whole lot in there, but it doesn't matter. just adding those in, shake them around. I'm really happy with how that's looking. So I'm going to seal up this last edge. I love how that looks. That navy blue, I just love it. I think this one's my favourite. Because I've got that holographic foil, I decided I wanted to bring a bit more of that in. At this stage, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do or how I'm going to set up my card, but I got to this point, I'm like, I actually really like this. The sentiments that I'm playing with there are a Simon Says stamp. It's one big stamp with all these different sentiments, and there's a die that goes with it. And I've just stamped them all onto white cardstock with black ink, and I'm going to use that one there. Everything About You is amazing, which I really love. You can see I've got my roll of foil to the side there. I thought I'm going to add a bit of foil to the edging here, and I've just added a bit of glue, and I'm pushing that into the shiny, like onto the back of the foil, and just picking that up on there, and it's going to give my little sentiment a nice little shiny holographic border, which I love. And it's a bit messy, which is totally up my alley, and I feel like it's just enough to make it a bit more me. Not that it's not me, but if you've been following me a little while, you know I don't mind mess and not perfect lines. I'm going to use these tabby dots. These things are amazing, incredible. I love them so much. That's not straight, but I'm going to fix it. So then I decided I was going to add some more holographic, and I have die cut a frame here, and I've got a white card base. What I'm doing here, you know how you get those little fuzzy bits on the edge of die cuts? For a die cut like this, it's super easy to get rid of them. Just use your nail or even like the edge of the scissors and gently go over the edge, and that will get rid of all of those fluffy bits. And I'm going to add this to my card front. Now, it kind of looks a bit funny how I'm doing it right now. There is method to my madness. Who likes to use up pretty holographic cardstock where you cannot see it? Not me. So I have die cut the center out of that as well. Here we go. I've put in some scrap there, and then I'm going to add another layer just to build up the layers here. And then I will add my card front to that, and that will finish off this card. Using lots of glue on that front panel. Again, I do not want that to move. Making sure that it's opening the correct way. Just lining that up. And that is my 2 cards complete. This is the stunning, so I just put my Misty on top of that to make it all smush together and stay stuck. Deep Rose Sea, absolutely gorgeous sequin mix. Code Melinda15 will get you 15% off your next order. All of the links will be in the description box below. Here are a couple of photos. As always, thank you ever so much for stopping by. If you have any questions, leave them below, and I will see you in my next process video. Have a fantastic scrappy day.